Hell of a year this year, man.
Thank
24th,
you. I appreciate it.
Corn Ferry. How you feeling about the golf game and this past season?
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, I haven't played that much since we ended the season. I've been taking off a little bit, just trying to, you know, catch up with all my friends. We moved into a new place in Uptown Charlotte, so just trying to enjoy life a little bit
Right.
outside of golf because it was such a, long season post quarantine and everything. But game feels good. I've been playing a little bit, practicing a little bit. Excited to go down to Florida at the start of the new year, though,
Yeah, man.
and playing practice down there. So
So how was it? You were pretty hot before the break. So, you had your win, and I think you had one of your top tens, right? Before the break. And then you do the quarantine and that. How was all that COVID process? And then coming back and where after you were on a heater like that?
yeah, it was good. I obviously I played well before COVID hit. I think I finished fourth in Sarasota and then won 2 weeks later in Mexico. And I was playing really well, and I was really excited to go down to Louisiana. And then I think that Friday before Louisiana, I was about to leave and make my way down to, I think it landed up for the night, and then Birmingham, and kind of play a few different places along the way. My agent called me. He's like, I wouldn't go if I were you. Like, I think they're going to cancel the event. I'm like, what's going on? I'm playing so well. Like, I'm
Right.
ready to
Come
get
on,
going.
man.
So we had, I think 3 months off, and I didn't really play that first month that much because I was like, it could last for like quite a while. Like, I knew they canceled NBA. I knew they canceled like a lot of other sports. I was like, I'm going to have a lot of time off. Might as well take a break because I'm not sure how much of a break I'll get when I get back. And practiced and everything. And once I got back into golf, and then once quarantine ended and we started back playing, I struggled quite a bit coming back, but kind of found my form a little bit at the end of the season. And hopefully I can carry that into next year. It was kind of weird just because we never had that long of a break in the middle of the season. And
Right.
after playing so well, I was like, I can't wait to keep this going. And then all of a sudden it stopped so quickly. And I was like, sweet. Like all of a sudden you think you're going to be on the PGA Tour and you're not. So it was tough, but a lot of good experiences this year, which I was excited about.
And we're your top 25, so your points will carry over into this following season. Is that right?
Yeah, my points will carry over, which is good. But it was kind of weird because I played well at the beginning of the year, didn't play well, the rest of the year. And so I'm excited because, if I play well this next year, then I'll have a really good chance of being on the PGA Tour.
Yeah. So, do you get any starts this year on the tour, on PGA Tour, or you do some Monday qualifier type deal? Or
I think I'll play in a few Monday qualifiers. Hopefully I can get a sponsor exemption into Wells Fargo. I tried for that last year, but they obviously canceled the event. So I'm going to try for that. And then, but I'm just probably, since I'm 24th and just barely inside the number, I'm going to stick to Corn Ferry pretty much all year. And
nice.
I'm going to play as many events as I can play and try to give myself the best chance of being on tour full time. Starting late 2021.
Obviously, this year's probably more unique than most, but talk about the grind. Obviously, you said you've been on tour for 3 years or pro for 3 years. Just talk about the grind, because I don't think a lot of people, I mean, I do, and I think Mark does, talk about the grind and the demands of practicing, traveling, playing in all these tournaments, just the kind of day in and day out. What's it like, and how does it take a toll on you and your body and your mental game too?
Yeah, it's definitely a grind. I mean, last year I played PGA Tour China, which was a different kind of grind just because of 16-hour flights every couple of weeks. And so the travel for me this year was actually way easier than I was used to after last year. Not eating, American food, not eating, all the time healthy food. I'm eating a lot of McDonald's in China. So this year I was like, okay, like I can get a, steak if I want to. I can get a salad if I want to. I can go to Chipotle if it's, a late night. That was a lot easier, but playing, 15 out of 17 weeks in a row is not easy. And that is really hard. So that was more of a grind this year, and just being like, like I said, like, even if I don't have my best stuff, I still have to, figure it out and play next week. Like I don't get the opportunity to have 3 weeks off like I did in PGA Tour China. So I had to, figure it out. I had to, play without confidence a lot. I had to, fix stuff, on the range after rounds, because, next week I'm traveling all day Monday, and then I get to Tuesday and I play 9 holes. I'm tired. And then I have a pro on Wednesday, and then the tournament starts the next day. So I had to figure out stuff a lot of times after the rounds or before the rounds, or it was definitely a grind. And plus, I think the biggest thing people don't, understand about professional golf is you're, employing a caddy. And, I went through a few different caddies this year, and kind of, getting a feel for their personalities. If you're not playing well, it's tough on not only you, but them as well. And so dealing with the different, with different personalities, dealing with the, the team aspect of, having a caddy as well. So that was definitely a little bit different than what I've been used to, but there's a lot of different stuff that goes into it. I mean, you have to figure out rest into it all, travel time, practicing when you're not playing well, or if you are playing well, giving yourself, like, a few off days, because, you can get into a pretty good rhythm, but you can also get out of rhythm pretty quickly out there as well. So,
what you talk about the caddies, I mean,
mm-hmm.
You said you went through a couple different ones.
Yeah.
Are you using guys that are on tour, or that have kind of been around, or are you using people that or things like that?
I started out the year with a guy that I caddied for me in Q School, named Aaron Walker, and he went to my high school. We were on the same high school team, and he started caddying for me this year. And he caddied for me, I think, the first 5 tournaments, and I won with a different caddy, one of my other buddies, who caddies for Chess and Hadley now. But so I had him for a few tournaments, and but right now I have a guy I really like named Rusty Stark, caddy for Roberto Castro for the past 10 years or so, kind of on and off. And I really like him. He's a great guy. He's from Houston, and we work really well together. Our personalities kind of balance each other out. He's very competitive, but he's also a great friend. And he's a little bit older than me, so we get that, he has a lot of experience in areas that I don't have experience. So it's cool. And I enjoy having that on the bag, because a lot of times this year I had, either younger caddies or caddies that, just hadn't been around long enough to, know all the guys out there and know all the, officials, all the things that, I needed help with. So that was cool. And it's nice having Rusty on the bag. I really like him. We really balance each other out. So
yeah, definitely got to have that mesh. I don't think a lot of people realize that you just got to have that mesh and that ebb and flow and that balance for the highs and lows. So
that's exactly right. Love Woodmont. I think Woodmore is a underratedly great course up there. I think the layout's great. I hit the ball pretty short and straight, so I really like Woodmore.
Tricky greens.
Very tricky greens.
Tricky.
But I mean, Woodmont's great. I love Manor Country Club. But we played Big Tens every year at Bethesda Country Club, and that's awesome. But yeah, I would probably go with Bethesda up in Maryland, or Baltimore Country Club up in Maryland. There's so many good courses up there. That was kind of one of the reasons I went to Maryland, because we played Maryland, University of Maryland course a lot, but we had so many other great courses in Maryland that we could play at and practice at. And, there's so much great history up there with golf too. So it was really cool to experience all the different golf courses. And being from North Carolina, you only play on, Bermuda grass. So being up there, I was like, I can take fat divots, and
right.
it's cool because they just fly and I get to pick them up, and it's makes ball striking that much more fun. So, but yeah, there's so many good courses up there. It's hard to pick.
College golf is competitive, but me as somebody who's watching it on TV, do you think the Big Ten just doesn't get the love that the SEC and some of the higher ranked ACC teams get? Because I know even some of the Big 12 teams, do you think the Big Ten just doesn't get the love that some of those other schools get?
Yeah, I think the difference is that, people from up north want to go down south because they can play golf all year round. And so a lot of times in the Big Ten, you don't have as deep of teams. I think the good players are just as good as the good players down in the SEC, the ACC, the Pac-12 and everything, but they're just not as deep as the teams there are. I mean, you have 7 or 8 guys in the SEC or Big 12 or ACC that, could play any given week. You only have 3 to 5 guys that could play every given week in the Big Ten, other than maybe Illinois, Purdue, so schools like that. But playing against those schools, I mean, it's still just like one of the top college tournaments in the Big Ten tournament, because I mean, you're playing against. I remember I played against Thomas Dietrich versus Dylan Meyer, Nick Hardy. I mean, all these guys that are really good professionals in the Big Ten tournament or in Big Ten match play or whatever, and guys that were first team, second team, third team All-Americans all the time. So, and I mean, it's not like we don't play a full Big Ten schedule. We played a lot of ACC, SEC teams, and I thought the best team I ever seen in college was I think my sophomore year at Maryland when Illinois was really good.
What are you focusing on before you start next season?
Yeah, so I've noticed in my game in the past couple of years, I've kind of faded about the midway stretch of the season. I've started off well every year, whether it was in China or this past year or even in college. Once I get back to school, I play so well at the beginning of the year. And I think, middle of the year, I'm going to start. I'm working on it this fall, is getting stronger, getting more in shape. So by the time, the midway season starts, I'm not fading.
Yeah. You just mentioned, fall, and obviously your goal to play on the PGA Tour come later 2021. And I think it didn't really register with me till about a year ago that how important those fall events are with the wraparound schedule, especially for guys that are making the jump, how real important they are to kind of get as many points as you can so you can keep that card every year.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They're huge. I mean, you see it, like we had a couple guys come back after quarantine this year that just didn't get enough starts once the new year hit because they didn't play well in the fall. And it's so crazy that, you go straight from playing 17, 18 events in a row on the Korn Ferry schedule to the next week you're playing eight to 10 more events on that fall schedule. And so you have to play well all year, especially as a Korn Ferry graduate. I mean, it's so important unless you win that top spot and you got to get to pick and choose your events. I mean, you have to play well all year and you have to really compete and play well, especially when the time's right. Those last few events of Korn Ferry season and then into the new year. Or into the new schedule. So they're really important. I'm just focusing on, what I can control right now. And that's the first couple of events of the new year. And I get my body ready for, another long season because, I feel like you can play well a few weeks. And, if I'm consistent and have a couple good weeks and then throw some really good weeks in there, whether they're top 10s or, hopefully winning again or some top 5s. I mean, that gears me up for another good fall and another good, hopefully PGA Tour season. So, yeah.
Nice. Got any advice for junior golfers out there or the, 10, 11, 12-year-olds that I know that are up and coming or high school kids that might be looking at making the next jump to college? What kind of advice would you have for them out there if their goal is to be playing on the Korn Ferry, the PGA Tour?
Yeah, I just say keeping it mentally, never give up. I mean, the thing I realized, at a young age was like you focus on yourself so much. You don't want to focus on anyone else. You want to play the best game you can play. And that's something I still try to, incorporate in my game is, I don't hit it 350 like Taylor Pendrith does or, hit every single green like Will Zalatoris does on my tour or putt it lights out like, Braden Thornberry does. But what I can control is, being very consistent, not making many bogeys, playing my game each and every day because that's the things that separate me from other players. And so that's, I think, something that I realized at a young age and that's helped me through each and every level is being, what does David Kocher do best? What do I need to do well to play well each and every week? And so whether it's, hitting your drive long or, hitting it straighter than anyone in your tournaments or whatever, just not making mistakes when you usually do something well. And that's the thing I've tried to, when I wasn't playing well this year, I realized I was getting out of rhythm with the things I usually do well. And so that's something I just encourage, all young players to realize is what do you do well and do it well every single time and not get out of your comfort zone when you aren't doing it well. So,
man, that sounds like me as a high school golf coach about 12 years ago. That's what I'd tell my like stay in your lane and play your game. Don't play what everybody else is doing. So, and I love to hear that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.